need reinvigoration, as you put it, Jaws.
Absolutely. We are into pick a man phase now. exceL over on the blue, CAZ over on the red. They're going to be rushing through these ones, no problemo. Now, Jay's being taken off the board already. Targeting Rengus up in that top lane. Shikari's not going to get his hands on that either.
Well, Jace actually generally quite strong right now too. You know, with the lethality changes, Jace can do a lot of damage, really. So it is worth putting him on your ban list if you so choose. It's going to be the Cho'Gath ban as well. It means exceL, especially CreamEl, who did pilot that in the mid lane as an AP Cho'Gath and had success with it. Not going to get his hands on it this time round.
Can be quite scary in the mid, but can be quite easily countered. But deciding, you know what, we don't want exceL to first pick it, so they're going to ban that one away. The Gragas is going to be the second ban here for exceL as well. Again, I think Gragas, especially in the UK scene right now, is performing just absolutely phenomenally. A
lot of people really favouring Gragas, and you know, he is a very, very safe jungler. Doesn't have too many instances where you can punish him. The Kha'Zix ban coming through is probably primarily aimed at Taxa, although Kha'Zix is very good on this lethality patch regardless. Taxa, whenever he gets the opportunity to, will play Kha'Zix in the jungle. He's had a lot of success with it as well.
Yeah, Duskblade is disgusting on Kha'Zix. Not only are you invisible, I was going to say invulnerable, that'll be a little bit of a power, but you can actually involve your R first when you do hit level 6, and become pretty unkillable as soon as you have that Duskblade. You can isolation damage and one-shot their jungler. So taking that one away is going to be quite thought out there by CAZ. Now, Thresh and Talia are going to run out the bans, and Zac will be the first lock in here for Taxa.
Again, Zac has been slipping through sometimes. Sometimes he's not picked at all or banned. But a lot of people have now been going back to banning Zac, especially on the red side. Taxa did try and play Zac on yesterday versus Nerd Rage and didn't really do that well. Kind of got shut down pretty hard. We'll have the opportunity to pull that one out here, but it is still considered a power pick in the jungle, so you know, an early pick here for Taxa. It means he's going to get one of the more powerful junglers at the moment.
Absolutely. Nidalee has been rising in popularity. I mean, we've seen Nutri play it up against these tankier junglers. Prefers it quite heavily. Very assassin-like jungler. Very good in the early game. Not so good at setting up ganks, but the counter gank potential is definitely there. That's exactly what Taxa want to be doing as well, ganking early. And that's the main problem he did have yesterday against Nerd Rage, was the fact that he couldn't gank, and he just didn't want to, and he just kind of let Nutri farm. And that will be a first lock in here of the Janna as well.
This is interesting, and this is super interesting because Janna has been coming back a little bit because disengage has become quite important, the ability to protect yourself under tower as well often, and actually people seeming to like her into Zac specifically because you can stop that engage of the elastic slingshot, you can knock him up mid-air with the tornado, I believe, you can also knock him back with the monsoon. Janna has been creeping back in popularity in that support role, but the problem with Janna is she's quite passive, she's not exactly a playmaker, very much disengage and defensive orientated. So that's going to be fast-legged, getting a safe carry, or safer support, but not necessarily anything that's going to make too many crazy plays. Probably mainly there to disengage, like we said, from the Zac. Yeah,
it does rely on Jakamaka kind of handling the lane 1v2 in that instance. Janna not doing all too much, unless you get some nice monsoon plays.
If you get a good, hard-hitting carry, I was going to say Jhin, but that's something that's now been given over to exceL.
Has indeed.
You know, the Caitlyn Janna lane is very strong, if that was what CAZ wanted to roll with. It looks like
they aren't going to pick it just yet. That Jhin and the Rakanal will be the bottom lane for exceL. It's actually a Corki here for mid-king.
You imagine that will be going mid. I mean, I don't think we're going to switch it up and see it go AD carry anytime soon. But it does mean that exceL can now squeeze the AD carry pool in their second set of bans, which is classically what you see if you don't see an AD carry locked in on the first rotation of picks. You generally tend to squeeze that pool a little bit. So if I were exceL, I'd be thinking about banning Caitlyn, I'd be thinking about banning Ashe. You know, try and get rid of some of the more top tier carries and force someone down onto, I don't know, maybe a Kalista. You could ban Kalista and ban Caitlyn. But again, you're not going to get rid of all of the good AD carries right now, but maybe squeeze things that you don't particularly want to play against.
Yeah, put one of those bans towards the AD carry role, maybe. CAZ eSports actually deciding to ban away the top lane here. They do pick up that Renekton, or at least ban that one away. Tristana being taken off the board by exceL as well, so limiting, like you said, Jakamaka's pool.
I'm wondering how good Caitlyn is. I think Caitlyn's still very good, but she has had her scaling attack speed cut in half. So her natural scaling attack speed that she gets per level is cut from 4% to 2%. So I still think Caitlyn's strong. Her range will always going to make her strong, but she's not quite as... because the attack speed that you buy scales your natural basic scaling attack speed, so it's actually going to make all of the attack speed a little bit less effective that you buy as well.
Absolutely. Wow, they really don't want Shikari to have anything that's going to be lane dominant, banning that Nara away as well.
Still Fiora up for Shikari if he gets a good matchup for it. So
he's a very good Fiora player. Likes to just sit in the top lane, farm up, and then just split push for the rest.
Very, very good top lane. I think that's absolutely.
There we go. There's a Caitlyn ban. So actually, Jackamaka's going to get another one of those banned away.
Gets the option of the Ashe or the Kalista now. I think those are the two remaining good. AD carries. Varus still pretty solid. Varus and Janna still pretty good. Like we said, there is the possibility that they could run Corki in the bot lane. I doubt it, but you know that's where primarily Corki has had a place in previous seasons. He was an AD carry, for instance. It just seems odd that they've left the draft this way because it feels like they're going for some sort of counter pick in mid. You know, that kind of feels like where it's shaped up to. So we talked about. There was this Challenger Series broadcast when this happened, and I was going to say that this guy's going to go top. Can't remember what it was now. Oh,
okay, and it went mid instead.
Yeah, and anyway, I think they were saving a counter pick, but two very solid picks in the top and mid, very hard to counter pick into, and it probably just means that CAZ end up picking their AD carry here, likely going to be Ashe or Varus, I imagine. Yeah,
that Jarvan and Orianna. It's a devastating combo, and exceL looks pretty devastating on paper right now. A lot of CC, a lot of ways to engage, and a lot of follow-up from the Jhin Orianna. Just about getting their composition going and rolling. We'll see what CAZ want to run out their composition with, though, as that clock ticks down.
No, it is Corki AD carry. Yeah. I thought it'd be Corki AD carry, just simply because there is no way that you leave your AD character last pick on this current update, and that is actually completely gazumped exceL's double ban phase, which is really interesting. But this is Jackamaka taking Corki into the AD carry position. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Can't believe we've seen Zev for the first time as well. Oh my goodness. On this patch, every time he's locked in solo queue, I'm like, okay, should I dodge this or shall I? I should have committed to the Corki.
I should have committed to the Corki. You should have done, yeah.
Mid King's deciding he wants to be the king of the mid lane. I mean, Krumel, he's hovering that exhaust at the moment. I can't imagine he's not going to change that. I can't imagine he will change that. There's no way against a Zed, especially when you've got someone like a Nidalee as well to back him up.
Oh god, yeah, no, you go exhaust versus Zed every single time.
Oh my god, this looks so horrible from CAZ.
It's got a 1-3-1 potential that will rock it out of control. Your ability to siege as well. They've got Nidalee and Corki siege with Shen to force a tower dive if necessary. You've got a 1-3-1 that you can open up with Shen, the 3 in the mid, and then Zed in the side lane. And Zed will eventually just out-duel Orianna 1v1. It's just going to happen, right? Zhonya's will shut him down, maybe. But with lethality, there's so many other things that you've got to consider in terms of the damage output they have. The Dustblade's going to be devastating.
Lethality's so good. It's so good on this current patch. What was your prediction, though, coming into it? CAZ,
I know, that's
trumped exceL.
It's crazy, crazy draft. I also don't really know how Corki AD carry works out because I haven't seen enough of it. I imagine it's going to scale up just as nicely as it does in the mid lane. There's nothing that changes about Corki. He still becomes a pretty powerful AD carry. Goodness me.
What does your heart tell you, exceL?
I think exceL have just got the easier comp to pull off. Okay. Like, it doesn't rely on many factors. They've got the Jarvan Orianna combo. It's tried, tested.
I'll take it.
Tried, tested, it's true. I'm going to go for exceL. Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm going to go with CAZ just to be opposite again.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm going to have to do it. Yeah, I'm scared of that Zed, in all honesty.
I'm scared of the Zed as well.
I'm scared of the Zed. It's going to be absolutely terrifying. So there you go. There are our predictions on the screen. To be fair, I just want to be right sometimes.
Well, you don't know. I mean, you did lose the first. You did lose the first prediction, as I did say no.
Feels bad.
And we didn't get the opportunity to do the other two. So now you could tie it up, basically. You could tie it up this game.
I hope so. Well, we're going to jump straight into the game. We have exceL versus CAZ. exceL over on the blue. CAZ over on the red. Now, finally, we're on the Rift, exceL.
Oh, it's been a while.
It's been a while. We've been sitting here,
and listen.
Had a couple of drinks of water, mind you, nothing else, nothing fancy. They wouldn't allow us.
Well, you don't want to be drunk on broadcast, do you?
Well, obviously not. I could have meant anything else. I could have meant energy drinks.
We all know what you meant, Joss.
Well, what can I say? It's getting late. Mid King.
I'm drunk with excitement that we're finally back onto the Summoner's Rift.
It was too easy. You just had to let it in.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, no worries.
It happens, sometimes.
Let's have a look where the junglers are positioning, though. Because what I want to see from the pathing is Scud, in all honesty. He's on this Nidalee coming up against Taxo, who he knows will make early invades. Not early invades, sorry, early ganks happen on this Zag. I want to see where Scud is actually going to path. It looks like he's going to start around the red side. Is he going to go for something early in the top lane? Rengus has that opportunity to take the Shadow Dash first and put Shikari behind.
Again, it's it's an issue that I just don't think that CAZ need to focus on. Like, getting Jarvan behind or getting Shen ahead isn't going to win you the game, is it really, Jaws? It's one of those situations with the Cho'Gath from the Cho'Gath we saw in the previous game. It's not going to win you the game by getting Shen ahead. Realistically, eventually, he might win lane versus Shikari if you get him ahead, but he's never going to like dominate, split push, and completely crush. I think if you're CAZ, you just get this Zed rolling. If you can get Zed rolling, your whole team fight just becomes insane. I think something's gone horribly wrong here for exceL.
Oh, yeah, Taxa tried to do what Nutri did the other day and get level 3 very, very quickly. He actually didn't clear the clear the Raptors completely, so now he actually forces Orcs to blow a potion, and now is a little slower on his clear, and we can already see Scud invading on that blue side. It's going to steal that blue away. This is what I was alluding to a minute ago. I'm actually quite scared of Scud right now on this Nidalee. If he gets rolling and ahead in the jungle, Taxa just can't make any of these crazy flank ganks like we like to see from the
Shikari is going to be very aware that they've seen him, he's been flagged up in a ward. They're going to have to be aware that he is maybe moving towards that top lane, which is potentially what he's looking like he wants to do. And I think Shikari realizes that the lane is in a position where he doesn't want to commit too hard because he knows that the Nidalee is going to be around.
Nice freeze, no ward here for Shikari. The moment he steps up, you can imagine he's going to go in on this one. exceL, however, we've created a momentary freeze in this bottom lane now with Jakamaka forced to move up. Would be very beneficial to Taxa if he was down in that bottom lane. Shikari, he's got his red buff on him. The spear does land. That Thunderlord's doing a lot of damage.
He's going to have to
forced to back off. Yeah, burning 3 corrupting potion stacks in the first 3 minutes. Not so good.
No, it looks like he's going to get this shoved in. I think the lane's worked out really nicely for Rengis here in the top side. Impressive, Scud. I want to call him Scood, to be honest, because the E is there, but I'm just going to continue calling him Scud. Because Scood sounds ridiculous.
Scood?
But I think he's did a really good job there, just putting Shikari a little bit on edge. There's no vision for him. He has to be very careful. And honestly, Rengis did a really good job of just freezing that lane, making the decision-making difficult for Shikari. Good ward by exceL in the early game to sort of realize that Scud probably going for that invade did basically keep Shikari safe in all essences. He didn't have to burn a flash, didn't overcommit to the lane. But it has given Shen a bit of an easy time across the first few levels.
That it has. And normally you'd see the Shikari winning that matchup more often than not, although Rengis right now does have a lot in his arsenal to deal with him. CAZ taking a fair bit of damage there. Scud, he's going to have to back off, takes a lot of minion aggro, but gives Mid King a bit more space to maneuver. It's actually blown CAZ's potion as well. And Zed actually opting for the Doran shield here rather than just like a long sword and 3 potions?
Yeah, I imagine it's because you're not going to win the game in the first 2 levels. So it's just basically weathering the storm of the Orianna lane. Orianna can be very oppressive to melee heroes in the mid lane. Obviously Zed being one of those. So it's just allowing him to weather some of those early trades, which he knows he's not going to do well in, especially needs to hit level 6, you imagine, before he starts to take those full-on trades with Orianna. Orianna likely going to rush Zhonya's in this matchup, which does make her item build path a little bit inefficient compared to what she'd usually want to go for. Whether she goes Seeker's Armguard into something more Orianna-like, or whether we see her go full Zhonya's, but I think you wouldn't want to take any risks in this situation. You just go Zhonya's straight away, right?
Makes a lot of sense. You could go Seeker's Armguard straight into the Lost Chapter. You need that mana regen as the Orianna at the end of the day. Actually opting for the armor here. Cloth armor with the boots and Dark Seal and a couple of potions. Very stacked out inventory now.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you either go Lost Chapter Morellonomicon with just the Seeker's, with just the Seeker's Armguard, or you actually just commit to the Zhonya's.
Mid King is level 5 now. Does have the Ignite as well. Zed, more often than not, we'll take the Ignite. May take a cleanse in certain matchups. This one is not one of them.
Scud doing a really good job of putting pressure on Taxa's blue side jungle here, and Tax doesn't yet have any vision in that area. Scud has stuck down a ward that's pretty deep in this scenario. Don't think he's going to get spotted out by Taxa here, although Scud will see him there. He is a level behind though, so we'll have to be careful.
He will indeed. Does end up smiting that one away, so Scud can't actually jump on it and just steal it. Oh, hang on, he has been found though. CAZ has got his number apparently. That spear will hit. Storm Raid is actually taken by CAZ, by the way, not a Thunderlord's Orianna, not for the trading.
I think the movement speed very important to him to both escape the Nidalee and also, give him the ability to kite backwards versus the Zed.
Well, speaking of Zed, Mid King taking a lot of damage, CAZ and Taxa. quite handily dealing with him, but Zed being Zed has got serrated Dirk and the refillable, so he's not too bothered at the moment. The amount of damage he can output with that small bit of lethality is quite surprising sometimes, in all honesty. The lethality has actually been increased on that item by
pretty insane. Pretty insane how much damage he can do. Both level 6, you know, exeL's probably realizing at this point without Zhonya's, she is fairly vulnerable, although, you know, level 6 Zed might find it difficult to completely burst her down given that she's got the exhaust. So the exhaust will always keep her safe in certain scenarios, well, as long as she has that up and available. Orcs is looking maybe to make a play here, though.
Yeah, so's Taxa. Here comes Taxa. Oh, nice shadow dash, though, or shadow skip. Oh, Ming King straight out of there. Does pop the death mark on Taxa.
Nice feet.
Nice feet. Fancy moves.
But burns the flash, which, you know, it's a pretty big deal, because sometimes it can be hard to do that in a Zed lane, especially when you see there a guy with such fancy moves. Scud taking a bit of damage, is going to be forced to back off here. The ward will expire in the blue side jungle soon.
More often than not, you'll see Zed players, as soon as they hit level 6, level 7 mark, they'll go all in on the Orianna to try and blow, or anybody in the mid lane to try and blow that exhaust, and then return to the lane later when they know they don't have exhaust. The ult will be up by then, and then make their all in play with using their summoners. It's normally what you'll see. But this time, King actually blowing the flash and the ultimate without exeL doing anything at all apart from blowing the shockwave. So exeL definitely wins out a little bit more than you'd expect in that matchup.
It's been fairly exeL sided in the bot lane. Jakamaka unable to trade too effectively, but it's just letting himself get pushed in here, falling behind ever so slightly on CS. It is the Doran's Ring start that has become popular for the Jhin, by the way, something that we have seen so frequently. Jhin wants to shove lane, right? He wants to shove lane early, and you have a better AP scaling ratio on your bouncing grenade by having the Doran's Ring. It also gives him basically a great amount of mana regen, which sometimes Jhin can struggle with, the ability to regenerate mana. So having the Doran's Ring early just helps him trade, helps him push the lane in, gives him the ability to shove with the bouncing grenade without fear of losing too much mana.
Something you really want to do against the Corki, that is for sure. Scud now, Mid King. This is what I want to see from Mid King and Scud. Their ability to kind of roam together, because they're two massive burst damage carries. They need to be able to find Taxa and spot him out as well. Mid King's already had a little bit of trouble with that.
I told you it was skewed.
Skewed.
I told you it was skewed. Production just confirmed that it's skewed, not Scud.
All right.
My linguistics is not gone beyond me just yet. But I was conforming to the play-by-play. Should never do it.
Straight to the dark side. The play-by-play side.
Come to the Scud side. We don't have ease.
Oh, man. Rengus in a lot of trouble. Hasn't got his Huns to back him up. Oh, Taxa.
Interesting.
He's just going to take some minions with him. It's all good. Just deliver them to Shikari.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's all Gucci. No worries.
That's going to give... Oh, nice capitalization here by Scud and CAZ. They're going to go straight for this Mountain Drake because they saw Taxa on the top side of the map. This is League of Legends 101. Jungler on one side of the map.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Stan United straight on top of the Corki. He's going to get knocked out by Orcs, but Fax taking a lot of damage. There comes the Nidalee. The exhaust does come through, but it will be first blood over to Jakamaka. Teleport is going to get followed up here, and with a spear and a grenade, that will be Orcs falling as well. Shikari looks a little bit lost for words.
Yeah, mistake there, I think, from Shikari. He's now made himself a prime target. No one else in exeL.
Nice dodge. Here comes Fast-Legged. Flash forward for the Monsoon. Here comes Mid King, though. Nice flag and drag straight on top of Fast-Legged. Will end up trading his own life, but Rengus is going to be able to find that kill in return.
Oh, Shikari, if he hadn't teleported, they might have lost the tier 1 tower, but if he didn't, he might have got the top lane tower. So it might have been a trade that he was able to make, but Rengus did have his teleport up. Zac will come over.
Oh, Scoot taking a lot of damage. Stretching strikes, he might actually go down.
Hey.
Yeah, Taxa flashes forward. There we go.
That is Zac for you.
Oh, yes. A lot of base damage and a lot of HP. Ain't going down anytime quick.
Good return by exeL. Didn't really make anything huge out of it, but they did limit CAZ getting that first tower in the bot lane. Usually when you make a dive like that in the bot lane, you get a complete sweep like they did. The prime directive would be to take the bot lane tier 1 and then force your rotations from that, but turned on its head, and exeL now are the ones in the lead. Let's have a look at that in detail again. I mean, this was just really nicely executed, set up by Jakamaka. Great taunt by Rengus, bought a lot of time for his team to just get the damage done. And after that was the teleport from Shikari.
Shikari refusing to give this lane up. Oh, refusing to give a bot lane tower as well. Fast-Legged comes back. and he has got that shield. But with the Jin, especially with that 4-shot loaded in his barrel, wants to make something happen. Speaking of making something happen, Scood is making his way down now. Making in a lot of trouble. Does have the ultimate available, but Krumel, you know, he's got that exhaust. There he goes in, exhausted instantly. Deathmark isn't going to do quite so much damage. Nice use of the pot back on the shadows. Krumel actually having to force the flash there.
Mid-King outplayed the hell out of Krumel just then. This Zed really starting to roll over.
Yeah, exhaust actually popped a little bit too early.
Yes.
Because the Deathmark damage wouldn't actually ticked after the exhauster actually disappeared. So the full Deathmark damage did actually go through in the end.
Man, that was a nice piece of play from Mid-King. I have been impressed with his Zed so far. Shikari and
Chakamaka wants to find Fugs. Here comes the charm. Nice double knock-up as well. Good route from Fax. Oh, hang on a second. Mid-King's dead. All right, fair enough. Yeah. Shikari came through with the Cataclysm.
Shikari and Taxa went in for a pincer maneuver there and punished Mid-King. Didn't have his ultimate up. Feet were glued to the floor. Didn't bother burning flash either, actually. So caught out ever so slightly, and exceL do get the first turret of the game. Taxa looking to capitalize on this.
No, hang on a second. Taxa coming over the wall. There's the stretching strikes onto the minion. Teleport is going to get channeled here from Rengus. Doesn't have Stand United just yet. Does get the Shadow Dash off, but Fax actually flashes out the way. They're still wanting to chase this one. Here comes Scood over the wall. Taxa's going to find him straight in the brush. Oh, Scood, the damage is too much, it seemed. Let's Bounce is going to get used, but Krumel is going to be here. No Shockwave, however. So can't make any forward momentum play. Speaking of forward momentum plays, here comes the curtain call. It's going to get opened up. Tax comes in. Rengus in a lot of trouble now. He's on the wrong side of the lane in enemy territory at this point. exceL, 4 members versus 1. Krumel takes the kill. That'll be a nice little turnaround for exceL.
The idea from CAZ was good, but they committed so many resources to that, and exceL are going to get so much more off the back of it, including the top lane tier 1. Again, it was an aggressive move with the Shen. They've been doing this quite frequently, have CAZ, using Shen in an aggressive way. But exceL were able to peel back because the rest of CAZ were far too split from Rengus' attempt. It was a good flash by Fax. If he hadn't made that flash, you imagine that actually it would have been a lot more catastrophic for exceL, and maybe CAZ would have even won the fight. But they really counter-engaged so nicely there. The jump onto the Nidalee in the brush really slowed things down, and Kremel's roam kind of zoned the rest of CAZ off. It was a really, really nice play, and actually the Orcs' re-engage was well-timed too, so exceL managed to find the counter-engage off the back of that really heavily committed fight by CAZ quite nicely.
I thought for sure Taxa was actually just going to die in that engagement. Jumped straight onto the Nidalee, but he didn't seem to care all too much. He's very tanky at this point in the game with that Cinderhulk finished. And now the pressure is just going to land in the mid. The best way to play around a Zed is have multiple people in his lane, so he can't do anything. And that's what Orcs, Krumel, and Fax have done. Roam to the mid, and they take their second turret, their third turret even of the game. All tier 1s down now for CAZ.
It's a good start for exceL. This is the start that they needed. Needed to get this kind of confidence back in their play. Duskblade now finished. Item Spike for Fax. Duskblade not there for Mid-King. Has been forced to go for a Hex Drinker because of the Orianna. She has got the Seekers and does look like she is working rapidly towards a Morella Nomicon. At least has the lost chapter there regardless. Oh, Orcs overcommitted.
Oh, Orcs has overcommitted. Has got that battle dance. There comes the Deathmark though, straight onto Fax. Can't find the damage. That Deathmark will not kill him. And the double battle dance as well from Orcs will save him once again. Now CAZ. That's a lot of engage potential and a lot of blow-up potential they have used. Uh-oh, Scood in a lot of trouble, stretching strikes. Oh no! Onto the Scryer's Bloom. You'd have found yourself a Krumel there if you dashed over that wall, and he is going to go down once again. And that does lead Orcs actually, and the rest of the lot on exceL just to start off the Shrift Arrow.
I love that that is an interaction. I'll pull you closer to the plant.
Meet my friend, Mr. Scryer's Bloom.
Oh, nice catch. They've been punishing this Nidalee pick from Scood in these engages. Nidalee not traditionally very good in all-out brawls. She kind of wants to get the jump on you. You know, realistically, to be able to pressure you and obviously pick out a target before the fight starts. But if you catch the Nidalee out, she actually becomes very vulnerable. She's not a hero or champion that is designed to be a duelist like that. She's designed to sort of maybe catch one person 1v1, but in a skirmish situation, if you catch her out first, if you put pressure straight onto her before she can land a long-range spear, before she can get a mark onto anybody, that's where she becomes fairly weak.
That's exactly why they took the Janna. to get those tornadoes off on Taxa when he does engage, but hasn't really worked out for them thus far. And with Taxa having that Rift Herald as well, can use that and blow that at whim. With all tier 1s down, it's even better for Taxa in this situation.
I thought that CAZ was starting to open up a 1-3-1 here. I think they could be, because Zed's heading towards the bot lane. They have been losing these teamfight and skirmish situations quite heavily. So by going into a 1-3-1, they are going to start to force exceL to either group up and force tower dives and sieges, or respond by having their own 1-3-1 combat that. And obviously Zed, mid-king, wants to find a situation where he can find CreamL by himself and duel him. And that's what I think they are looking for right now. CAZ just trying to force out a sort of situation where they don't have to worry about the teamfight potential of exceL. exceL do have Zac though. It's a really good way of forcing teamfights though, and also Rift Herald will make her way onto the Rift. They are going to start to siege this tier 2.
Here comes Harriet. Dun 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 dun. Tons of damage. There goes half the turret in the mid lane. Taxa comes through, has got Let's Bounce, but it is going to get tornadoed away. Miking though going straight on the back line. That Shen is going to hold him as well. Fax is just going to go down to the death mark. Maybe. No, not quite. Oh my goodness, the combo. There we go. Taxa hand delivers. 2 members of CAZ straight to the rest of his team. Fast-legged does have to flash in that instance. That Zed and Shen combo, when it works, it's beautiful, but when it doesn't, you just look silly. CAZ now losing 2 members. Well, they might do in a minute, as mid-king is going to get chased by CreamL as well. Actually, a flash here. Has got a Hex Trigger, so he doesn't take all too much damage, but CreamL is still going to chase him up, pick up his 3rd kill of the game. This Zed pick, not really working out for CAZ and exceL. Siege up on their base.
They're going to get this Corki as well. This is just now domination for exceL, punishing mistake after mistake from CAZ. Even going to get an inhibitor 18 minutes into the game, and Scood cannot defend this. They are trying to dive onto this Jhin, but the amount of protection, the amount of shields, and the exhausts they have to burn through are heavy. And exceL are finding a way to protect him. That combo between the Let's Bounce and the Shockwave was disgusting. Not just the Jarvan Orianna combo they have to watch out for. This Zac Orianna combo very strong too. And exceL are saying, you want a 1-3-1? All we're going to do is force turrets, because we have the ability to dive and tower dive and siege. Let's have a look at this again. This is the siege that they set up. They tried to get the jump onto Orcs, but look at the amount of shields that he has to protect him. He has the double shield from the Rakan. The damage wasn't quite there, and that was the Let's Bounce and Orianna Shockwave combo that was just devastating.
Comes back onto the screen. UPS delivery. By the way, here you go, CreamL. It's 2 champions that are really low, straight into a Shockwave.
But the problem with CAZ is they can't teamfight, right? They don't have a teamfight composition. None of their picks scream, I want to teamfight. They want to find this 1-3-1 and make it work with mid-king in a side lane. The problem they're going to have is Shikari feels and tries his luck, which is just going to force mid-king back. The problem is that exceL basically can turn around to the 1-3-1 of CAZ and say, do you know what? We're just going to tower dive you. We have a long-range engage from Zac, which can be disengaged by the Janna, but if you disengage that, then the Jarvan's probably just going to look for an engage. And even then, exceL can then just step up to a turret regardless. Either just flash and use Let's Bounce, or use a stretching strike to try and force things out.
Shikari wants to kill mid-king. He's actually going to use the big old Cataclysm to pin him in. Yeah, Deathmark wasn't going to be enough at that point. Shikari, flag and drag, flag and swag to pick up the kill. And that'll be CAZ losing mid-king once again. He's 0-3 on the Zed. I pinned him as this scary monster in the mid lane, and he's just really looking like a baby ninja right now. This
is the problem with Zed, right? If you don't get ahead of the Zed, just like with any split push composition, if your split pusher gets behind in the game, it just feels useless, right? Doesn't feel like he does anything. It's the same with the Kha'Zix. If he's behind in the jungle, you feel really behind, because this is the kind of pick that is supposed to be aggressive. This is the kind of pick that is supposed to be, you know, dominant. And the problem now, especially with the fact that lethality scales off your own level, I mean, lethality was designed to be a comeback mechanic for assassins that were behind. So that's why it scaled off the opponent's level. So if you went in on an opponent that was higher level than you, at least your lethality was doing work. Problem is now, it's a snowball mechanic again for assassins. It allows them to snowball if they're ahead. And if you're behind with lethality, it feels worse, because it's not scaling against your opponent's level anymore. So that's why now with mid-king at the 0-3-1, even though he's only 1 level behind, you know, he's going to start to feel like he's having a tough time against these side lane split pushers, because he is just behind in general.
He's feeling the burn, that is for sure. Scary that J4 can just jump on you and insta-kill you, especially if you're a Zed. It's not looking all too grand for mid-king, but I mean, there is ways back into this game, yes, but Every time he seems to jump on Fax, doesn't matter what kind of protection that Mid King does have, whether that's Stan United or a shield from Janna, there's just absolutely no way he can feasibly blow up one target at the moment. exceL looking to set something up here, and actually Mid King and Scood are heading towards that direction to get a ward in the Baron pit. Is going to get controlled here, and yeah, Orcs is going to take it, so actually they are going to get vision of that. And now executing a 1-4 push Shikari in that top side. No one can contest Shikari. He's 4-1 at the moment. He's on the J4. He has got Black Cleaver. He's got Titanic Hydra. Even Rengus at this current moment just can't do anything. He's a whole item behind.
We are trying to set things up here. I think CAZ are doing a really good job of trying to dissuade exceL from going for the Baron. They're saying, well, we could engage you. We could try and find a comeback. And if exceL went for the Baron without having a distinct advantage on the map, it would feel like it was just a throw for exceL. You know, if they lost it, it would just be an opportunity to throw. So exceL aren't sort of in a hurry to take that opportunity when they are just straight up winning this this 1v1 matchup between Rengus and Shikari anyway.
Oh, CrewMel might be in a bit of trouble. Oh, that spear. Only hit the last back minion. Here we go. Mid King goes in. Exhausts early. There comes the death mark. Zhonya's, though, might just save, and Grand Entrance comes through as well. Shockwave from over the wall. CrewMel picks up the kill. Mid King goes down again. Shikari teleported in. Scood in a lot of trouble. Fax got that bouncing grenade. Yep, Scood, you're going to go down. That kitty cat looks all too sad with Fax picking up another kill. And that will be maybe Baron on the cards now for exceL. 2 members down. You might as well. Scood's dead. Mid King's dead. Rengus. He had Stan United, but it was way too late.
And look at CAZ, they are so far behind in item spikes right now. The Corki only on a Triforce, working towards his second item. You've yet to finish your second item for the Zed. Your top laner's only got the Sunfire cape at this point in time. I mean, Nidalee, I don't even know where she's going at this point. You know, she's only sitting on the Catalyst and the Negatron cloak, so she's really struggling too. And they're trying to make these kind of plays. They're trying to get CAZ ahead, but it's just far too late for that.
Well, Shikari is going to find Rengus. Nice Shadow Dash out of the Cataclysm, but Taxa is going to join the fight. Stretching strides onto Janna and the Shen. Curtain Call gets opened up. Fastnagger takes one. He flashes out just in time, but Rengus is going to get found. However, that Monsoon will make sure that disengage goes well for CAZ. Now Mid King, what is he going to do? Taxa, let's bounce. Let's bounce into a few more blobs as he does end up just going onto the ground and getting killed by Mid King. Finally finds his first kill.
Yeah, exceL overextending ever so slightly there. They did have the Baron. They could have played this a bit slower. Maybe a little bit greedy from the roster. They have also potentially given up. Oh my goodness, what is going on?
Hang on a second. Orcs wants to go in. Stan United on Scood. Here comes the Shen. Nice Shadow Dash straight onto the back line. Mid King comes in. Nice death mark to avoid the shockwave there from Orianna. Jackamaka will pick up the kill on Fax. Orcs going a little bit too hard there in a 4v5 situation. Mid King almost fell, but that might possibly be a Infernal Drake over to CAZ now.
Yeah, a little bit of a throw from exceL. They didn't need to make that play. There's still a good chunk of gold ahead, but they've just gifted an Infernal Drake over. They could have played that a bit slower. They could have zoned with the Orianna. They could have not committed as hard as Hawks did in that situation. And they've gifted over a bit of extra gold and also resources to CAZ that they, to be honest, just didn't need to do. Still have map dominance though. They've got that mid lane open inhibitor to work with. exceL do have the better team fight still. Just need to be a little bit less. That's a 56 CS lead to Jackamaka, by the way. I didn't even notice that, but somehow Fax has fallen behind a huge margin in CS.
He's been grouping up with his team, and Jackamaka, he's just been farming because he knows he's one of the reasons why, well, one of the situations where CAZ can actually get back into this game. If Corki does get to this late game powerhouse that he can be, it's going to be hard for Taxa and Shikari to be this front line because he's going to be shredding armor with his Gatling gun, which opens up Mid King's possibilities. But right now, it's looking all too dire. There was a 2,500 gold lead as well for CrewMel over Mid King.
Absolutely.
Look at the gold lead as a overall as well. 9,000 in the pockets here.
I like what exceL are doing. They're just basically saying, we are going to siege your turrets, you have to deal with it. And that's going to force a game plan that CAZ can't adhere to. Especially because it's now the side lanes that they can focus on as a unit. You know, you're not going to split push mid because it just doesn't work that way. It's such an easily accessible lane. And by going and split pushing a side lane here, because they already have all of the mid lane objectives that they want, barring the inhibitor that is respawned, they're actually forcing CAZ to play away from their win conditions, which is good. It's a good way of playing here, exceL.
Taxa wanting to go for this engage. Just find the stretching strikes onto Rengus. That turret is falling very quickly. Mid King wants to just go in. You can see him on the sideline. Has cancelled one of those wards with his Dusk Blade. But now exceL, they've taken the turret, now they look for this inhibitor. So much protection for their front line. Shikari is taking almost negative damage. But now maybe is the chance to go in. Mid King on the back line now. Rengus does get the taunt on Shikari. Now, can Jakamaka do the damage applicable?
Oh, Shockwave's been used.
Shockwave has been used. Shikari does get exhausted. Nice stretching strikes. Here comes the engage. Orcs actually picks up the kill onto Rengus. Mid King just kind of nowhere to be found still on this back line, just can't find the engagement. He goes into all four members, just gets deleted by Fax. Taxa just sends himself flying and finds the Nidalee, brings them back to his team. Hand delivery system. That's exactly what Tax wanted to do. Krumel picks up his 5th kill, still unkilled, and that'll be the second inhibitor going down. exceL picking this one up, and you can imagine it's going to be a third soon.
Yeah, well, potentially even going to be game here. They have a long time before Mid King and Scood regenerate.
Nice use of the package. Fastek is going to get jumped on and rooted. Shikari is going to find that kill. Jakamaka is going to go down as well. Now exceL, they only need to find these turrets. Scouter, this might just be it, in all honesty. Like you said, I thought maybe they're going to back off, but they just want to prove me wrong. They want this game over and done with. 27 minutes. Take the towers, take the inhibitors, take the Nexus, and CAZ fall under exceL's might.
I think CAZ had a good strategy going into this. They kind of baited out the mid lane pick with the Corki 80 carry. They made it